Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I want to talk about Faith Evans. I feel like whenever the name Faith Evans is brought up, I don't think we get positive responses. Responses included that she's Biggie's widow, Stevie J's abuser, a Lil' Kim hater, and Mary J. Blige wannabe. Today I want to clear her name because beyond the surface, there's a respectable music career, and I feel like that doesn't get talked about, hence why I'm doing this video. So without further ado, this is the story of Faith Evans, the First Lady of Bad Boy. Before we begin, if you want to see music bios or more good videos like this, hit the subscribe button. And without further ado, on to our feature presentation. Faith Renee Evans was born on June 10, 1973 in Lakeland, Florida. Her father was a musician who was barely around Faith throughout her life, and her mother, Helene Evans, was a professional singer. It was said that when she was born, she was the loudest baby in the maternity ward. It was here where her grandmother knew her granddaughter's destiny. At 1, she and her mother moved to Newark, New Jersey. With her mother being a singer, Faith grew up with her mother's cousin, who were foster parents up to 100 kids. Evans began to sing at the early age of 2, joining the church choir. At the age of 3, she sang her first solo at church when she sang the Fifth Dimension classic, Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In. She talks about this in her memoir, Keep the Faith 2008, saying, "After seeing the reaction of my first audience, I knew I would be a singer. I knew I found my calling." During her childhood, she would visit her mother in Florida every chance she got. Down there, she became obsessed with her mother's records, which included Donna Summers, EWF, Anita Ward, among many others. At some point in her preteens, perhaps earlier, her mother's music career floundered, and she wanted to take Faith back to Florida. Being accustomed with what she knew, Faith refused to move back, so her mother moved next door. At the age of 12, she joined a gospel group called the Spiritual Uplifters and recorded a song, Love Will, which became a local gospel hit for them.
The tribulations, persecutions, and pain. Oh yes, late in the midnight hour, God will see it through.
Many small record labels reached out to Faith Evans, but her mother turned them down because she wanted her daughter to focus on education. At the age of 16, she appeared on the Boogie Down production video, You Must Learn. After high school, she attended Fordham University to major in marketing, but dropped out when she became pregnant with her first child, a daughter named China. She and her baby daddy moved to LA in hopes of a family future, but the relationship soured and she moved back to Jersey. With a mouth to feed, she got employment as a background session singer for R&B acts like Al B. Sure and Christopher Williams. It was with these connections she met a young, enthusiastic vice president of Uptown named Sean Puffy Combs, the one who
all in the video, all on the record, dancing.
He took her under her wing and he had her write songs for a young Usher and Mary J. Blige. After Puffy got fired from Uptown for his egotistical attitude, he started his own label, Bad Boy Entertainment, and he wanted Faith Evans to become the first female artist to sign, which she did, giving her the title, the First Lady of Bad Boy. In 1994, she participated in a promo photo shoot for Bad Boy. It was here when she met a larger-than-life rapper named the Notorious B.I.G., real name Christopher Wallace. After the photo shoot, he asked Faith to give him a ride home, which she agreed. Over the next few days, they would chat, and she would cook him dinner. And one day, Big just said, "Let's get married," which she agreed. Without proposal, without wedding plans, in less than 3 weeks of meeting each other, they wed in a private ceremony. According to Faith's memoir, they smoked weed before the wedding, after which they went out for dinner. Big went back to Brooklyn, and she went back to Jersey to pick up China from daycare. Sometime after, Faith got a B.I.G. tattoo over her left breast, which has since been covered up. The honeymoon is over period kicked in almost immediately. The two hardly seen each other. Faith was working on her debut album and Big was on the road promoting his. Should be noted that Big was a player and was seeing various women not named Faith Evans. One day, while Big was in Virginia, Faith decided to pay an unexpected visit. When she showed up to the hotel room Big was in, another woman was in there and she proceeded to get involved in a physical brawl. Big referenced this on the song Get Money.
Cases in Virginia, body in DC.
Some of the songs recorded for her first album, Faith. Faith will also have issues with his female protege in Lil' Kim. Faith always thought that she only had a working relationship with Big, but would later find out the two were far closer than what she thought. One incident, Faith got into a physical altercation with Kim when Faith again surprise appeared at Big's hotel and Kim wasn't dressed. It was alleged that Kim pulled a gun on Faith at one time in the future. Kim did reveal that Big got her pregnant around the same time Faith was pregnant, but later got an abortion as her situation wasn't suitable to have a kid with Big since their relationship was rocky. Back to Faith, her debut album Faith was released in 1995. It was headlined by the lead single You Used to Love Me. The song might have sent shots at her husband's infidelity. Regardless, the song peaked at number 24 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 4 on the R&B charts. The next single, Soon As I Get Home, peaked at number 21 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 3 on the R&B charts, as the album Faith will become platinum. In 1995, she went to LA and was invited to record with Tupac, who's recently been released from prison by Suge. The meeting was in the rise of the East Coast-West Coast rivalry started by Death Row. Faith didn't know at the time that he was signed to Death Row. While with Pac, they recorded the song Wonder Why They Call You Up, but the song wouldn't appear on All Eyes on Me because Bad Boy and Death Row couldn't reach an agreement if Faith should appear on the album. After that, Faith went to the hotel room to collect her fee from Tupac. Allegedly, Pac ordered Faith to, quote-unquote, go out and bob for apples with him to get her fee. Faith refused and left immediately. Pac would later tease the world that he smashed Faith to anger Big. Meanwhile, Big and Faith's relationship have all but deteriorated, and the couple separated. But in a trip to New Orleans, they briefly reconciled, and Faith got pregnant months later. In October 1996, Christopher C.J. Wallace was born. It was said that Big was ready to change his ways for the sake of his son. However, the couple was nowhere near reconciliation. In the early parts of 1997, Big would travel to Los Angeles to promote his double album, Life After Death. Since he was in enemy's territory and feared for his life, he frequently called Faith to reassure that he's okay. In March, Faith herself would make her way to Los Angeles for that year's Soul Train Awards. The next day, she attended a Vibe magazine party. She and Big make eye contact but don't speak. Should be noted that Big was supposed to make his way to London sometime afterwards. The party became overcrowded and was shut down early due to violation of the fire code. Faith left in a limo, Big and his entourage left in an SUV. Later on that night, she get a phone call from Heavy D. Heavy D informs her to make her way to the hospital because something happened to Biggie. Her husband was shot 4 times in a drive-by shooting. While she sat and waited for the news, at 1:15 a.m., Christopher Wallace was pronounced dead at the age of 24. 1 month after Biggie's death, Puff approached Faith to record a tribute song, I'll Be Missing You, with him in 112. The song debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and gave Faith her only Grammy win to date. The song gave her inspiration to work on her second album, but during this stretch she met Todd Rosal and started to date while she was separated with Big and furthered their relationship after his death. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son named Josh on June 10, 1998, which is her birthday. 1 month later, she and Todd Rosal married. In October 1998, she released her long-awaited second album, Keep the Faith. The album was mostly produced and written by her. The lead single off that project will become her biggest solo hit to date, called Love Like This. The song performed extremely well in the States, peaking at number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 and peaking at number 2 on the R&B charts. The song would later be sampled by Fat Man Scoop, and that became a HBCU homecoming staple. Her next single was All Night Long with Puffy, and like Love Like This, it also peaked in the top 10 on both charts. Her third single was Never Gonna Let You Go, which was written by Babyface and became Faith's second number 1 R&B hit, and the album Keep the Faith also went platinum. For her next project, she worked with a wider range of producers. Faithfully was released in November 2001. The album spawned the single I Love You, which was co-written by Jennifer Lopez and peaked at number 14 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 2 on the R&B charts. But the album didn't receive the proper promotion as her previous two. This was mostly because Bad Boy's distribution was in transition from leaving Arista to Universal. In 2003, she felt like Diddy had took her far as he could, and she decided to leave Bad Boy Entertainment. She was signed with Capitol Records to work on her 4th album. That same year, she would appear in the movie Fighting Temptations, portraying a single mother. But Faith would run into legal issues when she and her husband was arrested for possession of marijuana and cocaine during a traffic stop. In April 2005, Faith released her 4th album and her first without Bad Boy, called The First Lady. With her now on Capitol, she is able to gain more creative control on the project, working with producers like Brian Michael Cox, JD, Pharrell Williams, Chucky Thompson, and among many others. But the album only spawned one successful single, again peaking at number 7 on the R&B charts. The album First Lady would go gold, but it will be her only full-length release with Capitol. Yes, she released a holiday project in 2006, but afterwards the company was bought and she wasn't brought back. After her stint on Capitol ended, she released her memoir, Keep the Faith. She started her own label, Prolific Music Group, so she could release music on her own terms. But in 2011, the law will catch up to her again, as she and her husband were arrested on suspicion of drunk driving. To avoid further persecution, she and her husband were ordered to complete a 13-week drug treatment program. After completing the program, the couple filed for divorce. In 2012, she became the executive producer on the TV One show R&B Divas Atlanta. The reality show documents them balancing their careers and their personal lives. She appears in just 2 seasons, and during her run in the show, she released a compilation project of the same name, which saw Faith nominated for a Grammy for Best R&B Album. She continued to work on music with 2 more albums, Incomparable in 2013, and a duet album with the late Notorious B.I.G. called The King and I in 2017. In 2018, she married music producer and reality TV personality Stevie J. Their relationship had so many red flags and drama, I cannot do it justice here. If you want to know more about the relationship, I advise you to watch Real Reality Gossip video on their relationship. But I will note that in 2020, she was again arrested, this time for striking Stevie J. Stevie would drop the charges and she was released on bond. In 2021, Stevie J filed for divorce, but despite this, Stevie J has been begging for forgiveness and wants Faith back. But Faith had come to terms with divorce, and as of today, it still hasn't been finalized. In 2021, she appeared on the Fox competition show The Masked Singer as Skunk. What gave her away, for me at least, was when she referenced a moment where she saw someone at a party, but unbeknownst to her, she'll never see that person again. This referred to the Vibe magazine party, where that would be the last time she'll see Biggie. All in all, I think Faith had a very solid R&B career. Through trial and tribulation, Faith fought through and is still fighting, and that concludes Faith Evans, the First Lady of Bad Boy. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.